A Casemiro masterclass, 2 stunning goals from the Brazilian, a third put in by Fred with a wonderful flick after a Bruno cross, and a man of the match performance from the brilliant Antony on the right. Of course, United should be winning this game. Of course, Man United should have run riot, but in many, many years gone by, this hasn't always been the case. This team is starting to cook and click into gear. And after a disappointing weekend, just 6 to 7 days ago after losing to Arsenal, United bounced back and essentially affirmed themselves into the final of the Carabao Cup. And on top of that, get themselves through to the 5th round. It's going to be interesting to see now with Spurs are through, City are through, United are through. Who else is going to make it through to that next round? Who will draw who? But another trophy is still on for Manchester United. And it was a dominant performance and one I was proud of. I wasn't disappointed to see all the kids come on. I was disappointed to see Rashford come off. It kind of we lost a little bit of impetus because the youngsters came on, and I actually prefer youngsters on the pitch with a combination of them and the experienced players to really kind of help elevate them. But getting some rest into the legs of Bruno and Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Weghorst is important with many, many games coming up over the course of February, which should end with a cup final in the Carabao Cup. United should be through after that already. Don 1, the draw isn't today. I would assume the draw's tomorrow. It's normally on the Sunday. Used to be Monday lunchtime after all the games are finished. I'm not too sure why they changed that. Monday lunchtime is when it used to happen, but it's normally on Sunday evenings now. But yes, very, 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 very proud indeed. And, you know, I don't even need to see the comments. You'll see it's Reading, but it's Reading. Why are you excited? Because my team just played really, really well. You know, I praised Tottenham earlier today for a very professional and quality performance against Preston. I've praised all the top 6 teams in the past for good performances against teams, whether they're bottom half the league, relegation candidates or not. The irony in it is this, is that the body of work that makes you a top team is ensuring that when you play smaller sides, that you're comfortable against them. The irony is you've all been here watching Football Terrace and the Devil's Terrace streams before when we were just the Man United channel, and we've been knocked out of cup competitions. I mean, this time last year, it was a round earlier, we were knocked out by a team pretty much in Reading's position. So let's not act as if it's a foregone conclusion. You can try it all you want, but it isn't going to wash with me. I don't slag off and laugh at other clubs when they beat lesser teams. So I'm not going to sit here and pander to your weakness and do it for Manchester United. But for me, it was a very, very good performance. So the only dampener on the day is that Rashford incorrectly had his 10th home goal on the bounce, 10th game on the bounce at home goal ruled out. Weghorst wasn't offside. He was in an offside position, but he wasn't active because the ball wasn't played towards him. There was a deliberate attempt to play the ball from the Reading defender. The ball ricocheted up into the air. It came to Weghorst. That's the second phase play. We saw Mo Salah score a goal directly through that. But strangely, since Rashford's legal goal was given, correct goal was given in the Manchester derby now, we've seen 2 disgustingly poor offside decisions given. Yesterday against City, Saka wasn't even moving towards the ball. Shouldn't have been called off because they broke through him in on goal after that point. Terrible decision from the referees. And this decision today makes no sense. And you know how bad it is when the halftime pundit, I don't know who the gentleman was, said his words were, they looked on VAR to see whether it had taken a nick or a deflection off of the centre-back, and it didn't. I actually heard a pundit say that. It didn't take a nick off the defender. The commentator said it. Or maybe it touched the defender. And then when they saw him put his leg out and intercept the ball and it fly in the air, the commentator went silent. It was very strange to me. Very, very strange. But they couldn't keep Man United down. Let's talk about the goals. The inside pass from Antony. I've seen some salty fans from. So there's one club that are very salty towards Antony, which is weird considering where they are right now. They shouldn't be thinking about Antony, but they are every day, every minute. He's living in their head rent free. The inside pass from him, he was playing it all game, cut through 4 or 5 players at once, puts Casemiro in, who then delightfully chips that ball over the goalkeeper, 1-0. Then just an astoundingly good shot from distance. An astoundingly good shot from distance from him, which he was even shocked went in. Let's not deny it. He was shocked. It really, really was. And then the play on the right-hand side, Another assist for Bruno Fernandes, another bit of GA for him, and Fred steps up with a wonderful flick, which they also tried to take away and say was offside as well. The commentators were egging it. Yeah, like it looks offside. It's probably going to be given. And lo and behold, of course it wasn't. He was behind the play at all times. But the goals were good. The performance was there. Antony was my man of the match. Antony, for me, I thought was brilliant today. I really thought he was brilliant, and he was just dangerous. He went on the outside and the inside. Went on the outside more than usual. I still want some more from him there, but his work on the inside was great, and he was passing the ball quickly and not dilly-dallying. Of course, he wasn't perfect. There was a time where he slipped when he was trying some skill. He had a chance to score at the end, and he kind of got caught in his own feet. But his overall play was brilliant. In the last 3 to 4 games, his general play has been improving game in, game out. We know his defensive work, how he helps Man United keep the shape, spread the play, keep width in the team is excellent. That can't be denied. Every football fan watching the Terrace, every football fan out there knows that Antony's brilliant at that. But he needs to add output to it. And he started off with output in a period in the middle where he didn't. Slowly starting to add that again now. And that's what we need to wait to see and come. But today was a performance which we knew was coming. Let's see what he can now do. He probably won't start against Nottingham Forest on Wednesday, but let's see. And then we have Crystal Palace in the Premier League in just a week today. He'll start in that game, and I want to see more of this. And it's if Antony starts to cook more in the final third, them inside passes, going, cutting inside, allowing overlaps. And I think what United did well today is he isn't great on the outside. So what do you do, system? What do you do to your system to counteract that? You have the midfield players like Bruno run to those wide positions, or you do what AWB was doing. And by the way, when we've got Delo doing this, we'll go up a level, is he's underlapping. There's no point overlapping with somebody that likes to hug that touchline and cut on the inside. So you underlap and you create that passing opportunity. And United did that brilliantly. It's the adaptation. And the more we get of that from Antony, the better, because he's a very dangerous and very capable football player. There is no doubt about it at all. And some of those inside passes prove that. On Casemiro, I'm running out of words to describe how good Casemiro is. He is absolutely sensational. Sensational. Breaking up play, winning the ball back, how he shields the back line is a thing of beauty. A genuine thing of beauty. His passing ability and goal scoring ability has been underrated, I think. When he came to the Premier League, there was a lot of talk of, he won't do much here. He's a bit of a steady Eddie. He isn't very capable. And he's just shutting everybody up. For me, he is the best central midfield player in the Premier League in England. If you're the best in the Premier, the best in England, same thing. And that isn't just based on scoring 2 goals against Reading. That's what the hyperbolic, polarized, that's going to be the response of dumb people. So I know no one in the comment section on the Terrace is going to write that because you're not dumb. The Football Terrace community is not stupid. We leave that to some people on Twitter. His overall season, he's the signing of the season, in my opinion, so far. The control that he has given to Manchester United has been exemplary. Some very important goals along the way as well. And listen, for a lot of people, he'd be their man of the match today. You then couple that in with his career. Just what a player. What a player. And I get everybody's challenge that maybe United should have looked at a younger version so that you get 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. But Man United needed Casemiro now. Every other club's going to do their rebuilds in different ways. Or we're going to go with youngsters, take 3, 4, 5 years to win. United didn't want to do that. United want to add some experience in at the same time as buying youngsters and developing the academy to try and progress back towards winning Premier Leagues, but at the same time having the capability to pick up trophies and hopefully multiple trophies. And Casemiro helps that happen. He's a sensation. He's a sensation. And as long as his body don't let him down, we keep this guy playing like this for the next 4 to 5 years, and we add to the midfield some better quality ball carriers into this midfield as well. This United team is going places. It really, really is. So very, very impressed indeed with Casemiro, an absolute sensational football player. And we're blessed. We're absolutely blessed to have him in England right now because I would say he's probably I'm just trying to think of DMs that I've rated. Claude Makélélé is one of the greatest that English football's ever had the privilege of watching. I think he's better. Who else have we had here that you'd say in recent years? You know, you obviously had Roy Keane that was in the Premier League as an example. There's, Fernandinho is very, very good. You've got Rodri that's here now. There's been so many. And Kante as an example. Casemiro, in terms of what he's done in England, he won't be considered the best ever or anything like that. But in terms of individual footballer, you're hard pressed to find me a DM that's clear of him. He's that good. He's that decorated. He's that successful. He's that brilliant. He's absolutely out of this world. He really, really is. Super chat here says, went to school and played with Tom Holmes, an immense young centre back. The result doesn't do him justice. Antony needs to work on his shooting for me. Listen, there's loads of things Antony's got to improve on. No one's saying he's the finished article yet. But he's shooting, even today, had a couple of shots that were very narrowly wide. As an example, against Forest, he made the goalie pull off 2 fantastic saves. For me, it's just the outputs have got to come. And I don't want him to fade, and he didn't today. He kept on going. Antony got man of the match, so I'm confused. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful, but if you're watching that and didn't see the brilliant performance from Antony, I don't know what game you're watching. I understand that Casemiro could have been picked for it, but it's not like I feel with Antony, he's probably the most disrespected footballer in English football at the moment. It's like every game, no matter what he does, if every minute and everything he does isn't perfect, there seems to be an overindulgence on criticism of him. I can see Antony ending as a 10. Listen, whenever he comes inside and is more central, I prefer him. I don't think he is suited to be a winger that goes on the outside. He wants to cut in and use that left foot. So there may be an adaptation here. Get Bruno drifting into those wide areas. When Delot is back, that could be very different because you've got a marauding fullback there who's much better on the ball than AWB. If we had someone of Reece James's quality or Trent's quality from an attacking point of view on the outside to whip the balls and crosses in, and Antony was going to cut inside and be more dangerous centrally, it wouldn't be a problem. The issue that you have is that there's a skill set we need that Antony doesn't possess. But maybe the long-term thinking is that isn't what Ten Hag wants Antony to be. And that's why sometimes you shouldn't judge a player day one and judge their entire career. That would be rather premature and stupid. Terry, you are right. Antony was man of the match. Thank you, Mr. Ali. He was my man of the match. I was just very impressed with his performance. Josh here says the pundits and salty rivals seem to forget he scored a similar long-distance goal in a previous Champions League final. Underrated at long shots for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Casemiro isn't a prolific goal scorer, but he was just disrespected when he came to the Premier League. Too old, it's too much money, steady Eddie, and it just he got absolutely, he's absolutely rinsed all of those pundits. He really, really has. He really has. Oh, I'm so sad to see it. Someone's done it. Apparently, Casemiro is the best midfielder in the Prem because he bagged the brace at home against 16th place Championship side Reading. Ah, bless. Do you know what's really funny about it kind of commentary? I mean, this is from a Bristol City fan, so bruv, like, relax yourself. But no one's talking about just this game. But the way he performed today, he's done it in 95% of the games that he's had in the Premier League so far. And I did have a fan of another club put some stats together, other DMs, and it shows like that Rodri and Partey are like ahead of him statistically with like amount of passes and all of this. And I asked him if he could go and turn it to per 90 minutes because they've all played more games than Casemiro because of when he joined this year. And he goes, "Oh, why do you want to see per 90 minutes?" Because I said, I bet if you put it on per 90 minutes, Casemiro goes green in lots of the areas. And he put it on per 90 minutes. And barring 3 sections of the 15 he put in there, Casemiro was green and leading them both. I'm like, there you go. You just done yourself. You just messed with a master and you ruined yourself. Antony, the Don, my type of player, flair, aggression, skill, assured, confident in himself, but also a hard worker and determined individual. Yeah, and that's what you've got with him. It's that determination that's key. Keeps going, he keeps pushing, he keeps fighting. And that's really important. It's really, really important indeed, Prime. I absolutely agree. There's a comment here from Johanna, one of our members. Casemiro is doing what a proper DM should be doing. Man United forget fans are hyping him up because they haven't seen a proper DM at their club for so long. He's doing it, but he's doing it at a top class level. I mean, you could argue that about anyone and say, well, why are we bigging up Haaland? He's just doing what all world class strikers do. Nothing to see here. KDB's just creating at the same level as all top creators have ever done in the history of football. Bukayo Saka's only doing what most wonder kids do. Do you see where I'm going with this? Mbappe's only doing what all top class wonder kids who are tipped to be Ballon d'Or winners do. You see what I mean? Messi actually just did what every player who is the greatest of all time would do. like wind your logic back, bro. Casemiro, Man United fans are hyped. We haven't just got a good DM. If we went and bought Ndidi, who's a good DM, do you think he'd be doing this? If we went and got Ruben Neves, who's a good holding midfield player, do you think he'd be doing this? Come on now, bro. I know you. You've got good football knowledge. You don't believe that, my friend. Not saying Antony wasn't good, but Casemiro was better. I understand that. I think that, I mean, Lee Dixon gave it to him, so that's why he gets it. The way it works for man of the match is English games. Whoever the British broadcasters give the man of the match award to, I think that's who gets it, and I think every nation sees that they get it. I believe that's the case. That's what they announce in the stadium. Therefore, the world hears it. I get why Antony got it. I was very impressed with him. Very, very impressed. And I have been in the last few games. Whenever I've said that, I've kind of been shot down by people going, what game are you watching? He was awful. And I'm sort of sitting there like, seems a bit dodgy. Just straight out, oh, nah, awful. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you believe that. To be honest, I'm sick of the hate towards Antony, is what Shane says. Yeah, listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The hatred online towards Antony is fake. It's a pseudo opinion. Nobody really believes he's as bad as they're typing. You've just got a number of teams that are motivated towards creating the buzz that he is the greatest flop of all time. So their player loses the crown. You've got Chelsea fans who want rid of the crown for Lukaku that they dropped 100 million on and he left within a year. City fans want to get rid of the tag against Grealish. Liverpool fans don't want Darwin Núñez being spoken about. Arsenal fans want Pepe to lose the crown potentially. Every club has a player. Spurs fans are just quiet in general. They all have a player who are always ranked in the top 2, top 3, top 4 of biggest flops of all time. And they're desperate for Antony to become the king of that. So they're all clubbing together because then if Antony's the resounding king of flops, their player isn't, therefore their club's name is taken out of the mud. It's so obvious. It is unbelievable. It's so obvious what they're doing. And it doesn't mean there isn't frustrations. It doesn't mean there aren't things to criticize Antony about. But the level of criticism is crazy. Someone actually said, like an Arsenal fan said to me, name me one game where he's done anything good this year. And I burst out laughing. It's like a debut goal against you. And he's the first Man United player ever to score in his first 3 games. And look, he doesn't have the best output this year. But he's tracking towards finishing the season between 18 to 20 goals and assists. It's not that bad year one. Am I saying he's going to be player of the year, signing of the year, world class, amazing? No. But then people ignore how good he is at keeping our shape, the press work that he does, the defensive work that he does, and the general play and the general play and the patterns of the team's shape. And all of these things, ironically, are what Man United were lacking until Ten Hag came along. He gives us that shape and stability, which we've lacked for about 4, 5, 6 years. And yet that's being ignored now. And it's all just, where's a GA though? But when we had a certain attacking midfielder at Man United who scored and assisted more goals in a season than any other midfielder in the history of English football, that was ignored. They were just stats. Stats don't mean anything, Terry. You can't judge a player on stats. Suddenly with Antony, all we're judging him on is stats. The irony is crazy. The desperation stinks. It's like bad morning breath, and we can smell it. We can smell it. Terry, forget the match. You have the best hairline since John F. Kennedy. Be proud, my friend. Thank you very much. It's just all right. The hairline's okay. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's pretty. It's done all right. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Um, Facts. It's petty. Yeah, we know it's petty. 100%. Baz here says they can't stand United is coming back. Of course they can't. Of course they can't. Are they worried about United? I definitely think there is an element of rival fans who are definitely concerned with Man United at the moment. Definitely concerned. 11 home wins on the bounce. Fourth in the league with a game in hand over Newcastle to go third. 7, nearly 8 points better than we were last season. If this current reign of form continues for the next 5 Premier League games, it will be once we hit to the 25th game of the season, the current form we're on, it will be more points at that stage than any season since Fergie retired. We're practically in a cup final. We've got to win it still. And if, by the way, if United win a trophy, you watch the hatred increase. Oh my days. It is going to be a madness. I'm telling you now, it will be a madness. It will be a madness. Prime says here, it's reaching, hating just to be hating. Basically, people can't get an understanding. But look, I put out the stats that show Rashford is the highest performing and most deadly winger in the world at the in Europe at the moment. And I only use the top 4 leagues because outside of what PSG do, nobody cares about what any other player in that league does. Therefore, it's not a top league. And the top 5 leagues will not be top 5 leagues once Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe are gone from Paris Saint-Germain. No one's going to give a damn. Trust me. If Qatar sell it, which they may do, they're saying they won't, but they may do, that league dies. Literally, Qatar are the only reason that anyone cares about the French league because of PSG. However, it's just, I put it out there, and then you get fans who are angry because their best winger isn't on the list. And I'm like, he's only not on the list because he hasn't scored as many goals. It isn't deep. If you right now, we know who the top 3 DMs in the league are. If you're a United fan, you tweet, I think Casemiro is the best. You know what fans are applying. It's just one-upmanship, but based on illogical stuff all the time. Terry, you can't just dismiss that league. Do you want to know why I dismissed the French league? As I've said, none of you watch it. None of you care about it. If I could literally, if anyone calls in there and proves me wrong, I'll give you £5,000 cash. You go, oh, come on. And I'm going to name randomly, I'm going to look at them and name a random 5 fixtures from the past month. And I guarantee you nobody, you got to answer them instantly, which means you know them. You can't go, type on your keyboard, excuse me a second, I'm trying to remember. I bet you can't name me the scores of those games. None of you watch it. None of you watch it. And the reason why I don't take the league seriously is because whenever a Premier League club signs a player from that league, you all go, oh yeah, but he just scores against Farmers. Suddenly, I've got to rate it when none of you guys rate the players that come from those leagues. Make it make sense. The same as when Daniel, I remember schooling Daniel on this, when all he would do is say, Bundesliga tax, Bundesliga tax, Bundesliga tax, but then claim that Lewandowski should win the Ballon d'Or. I'm like, well, that means most of his goals are in the same league that you're saying is rubbish. That doesn't make sense. It's why I don't believe Mbappe should win a Ballon d'Or until he's scoring goals in one of the hardest leagues. I know he'll do it. I'll know he'll deliver, but you've got to do it. Trust me now. You put Marcus Rashford, you put Bukayo Saka in the French league, that Rashford wouldn't be on 24 GA right now. He'd be on 34, 40 GA by now. That's how good and easy those leagues are. Legitimately. You put Haaland into that league, he'll have more goals. You put Harry Kane's, 15, 16 goals? Put Harry Kane in that league, he'll be on 25 goals by now. Easy. Walk in the park. Walk in the park. Walk in the park. Here it says Dembele, Sane, Foden, Luis Diaz, Son, Sterling, Coman, all clear of Rashford. Terry only watches the Premier League. But you can say that. If they're all clear of him, why are they not outperforming him at their job? And their job is to create and score goals. Listen to what I've said about Antony. The play is good. The defending is good. I'm happy with what he looks like. But what am I demanding from him? Output. My logic is the same. My standards are the same for everybody. I don't yield on them. Dembele and Sane and Foden and Diaz and Son and Sterling and Coman can all be better than Rashford in your opinion. But answer me this question. And if you can answer me this question and shut me down, I swear to God, I'll give you $5,000 cash now. If they're all better, how is he outperforming them at their main job, which is to score and to create? How? And I didn't say Rashford is better than all of them. I said currently he's the most deadly and on-form winger in Europe's top 4 leagues. So I didn't even make the claim. But your cognitive dissonance at Rashford being praised made you... by the way, I respect you, Lank, but your brain went... Terry just said he's the best in the world. No, I didn't. You didn't hear it because you heard Rashford being praised, and it sent your brain into the blender. Your brain stopped working. It went ding, 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 ding. And you're just standing there like...
What did he say? I can't believe he thinks Rashford's better than Messi. Rashford's better than Messi. How did he just say that?
I didn't. Your head's gone. This here says Dembele and Sane been on form. Yeah, they've been very good. But Sane's scored and created 16 goals this year. And I think he would agree that playing for the club he does in the league that he does, he should be on more. What Rashford is doing, Rashford, I mean, he had it taken away from him tonight. He was about to break nearly a 100-year record tonight. It's crazy. Come on now. Rashford on form is the best in Europe right now. If you're the best in Europe, you're the best in the world. Just admit it. Like, what's so hard about saying, yeah, right now, in this moment, he's the best? Would I say he's better than all those players overall? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them. But Foden can't even get on the pitch. Let's have a little look here at this comment here. It says, because Rashford is the only person that has output in the United side, it's not coming from anywhere but him, as the rest don't offer goals. Same as Haaland at City's side. This is logic is flawed. Are we saying because, I mean, so you're saying because no one else is finishing their chances, Rashford's goals don't count? I don't mean to laugh at you. So what you're telling me is Rashford scores his chances, and then Weghorst, Bruno's scoring a few recently, but Bruno, Weghorst, and Antony miss their chances. Therefore, Rashford's goals are worth less. No, what should be happening is Rashford's goals would all still have gone in, but other players, we should have scored more. Man, you probably look at United's like last 11 home games that we've won. I'm happy with how we're playing, but I think most Man United fans would say we probably should have scored a few more goals. That doesn't take away from Rashford's goals. You know, when Bruno first came to Manchester United, there was a logic that went round from his detractors and from Pogba fanboys that he'd just taken goals away from other people. United's goal output from when he arrived, if you go back a 2-year period and look at how many goals on average we scored per game and how many goals we scored in entire seasons, from when Bruno arrived for an 18-month period, there was a 34% increase in goals. We were scoring more goals than we had done before. He wasn't taking goals away from anybody. He was adding additional goals to our total. It would make sense if Rashford started scoring goals that somebody else was scoring and the system had changed and Rashford and suddenly we're playing differently and Rashford was the beneficiary. But so many of Rashford's goals recently have been self-made. And the irony is, I was always told you're not a top-class player until you make your own goals. We've seen him score 3 or 4 since the return of the World Cup, where he's dribbled past about 2 or 3 people. Come on now, Joshua, you might be calling people out with that logic, but that don't make sense to me. Mbappe over Rashford. Yeah, I agree. I do think Mbappe is a better football player than Rashford. I really, really do. I really do. But he's a centre forward, so he's not a winger. The rest of United don't offer goals. He is your sole outlet for opportunities. Thus, he scores more as he's the focal point. The same as Haaland. Listen, if you look at Man United's games, we had 25 shots on goal today as an example. Rashford had 1 of them. Let's just go back. Let's just go back and see if your logic reigns true. I'm going to go back and look at the last. I'm going to go back and look at the last 5, 6, 8 games here. They're what's on the screen in front of me. Let's have a look. So against Forest, we had 15 shots. 2 were from Rashford, 4 from Antony, 4 from Fernandes, 3 from Weghorst. Against Arsenal, we only had 6 shots, 2 from Rashford. He had the most that day. Everybody else that had the 1 each spread amongst everybody else. Against Palace, we had 15 shots, 4 from Rashford, 3 from Bruno, who scored 1, 3 from Antony, 1 from Weghorst. So he was the most shots on that day as well, but 3 from Antony, 3 from Bruno. Against Manchester City, we had 8 shots on goal, 3 from Rashford, 2 from Bruno, 1 from Martial, 1 from AWB, and the other one, 1 from Garnacho. Against Charlton, we had 21 shots on goal, 4 from Garnacho, 3 from Antony, 2 from Eriksen, 3 from Rashford. He scored 2 goals in that game. And against Everton, we had 17 shots, 3 from Martial, 4 from Antony, 3 from Bruno, 4 from Rashford. So he's certainly in 3 of the last 8 games, he's had the most shots. But and he's had a lot of shots in those games. But he's been out. But he isn't the only guy the opportunities have been created for. He's just been the most clinical. So I mean, for me, he isn't the fact that we're having a go at Rashford because he's got a better conversion rate. So, like, let me ask you this question: if Rashford still had scored all these goals, but Antony and Bruno had converted 5 or 6 more of these really good opportunities that they've had in the last month, what would that then mean? Rashford, their goals wouldn't have stopped Rashford from scoring. So I don't understand it, bro. It doesn't make sense to me. By Terry's logic, at the start of the season, Almiron was the best winger in the world. At the start of the season, Almiron was one of the most informed wingers in the world. You're right. That's what right now an inform means. The question is, do you think they can sustain it? That's the question. I don't know what you're going on about. If I was going to pick a player now, if Darwin Núñez between now and the next 15 games scored in 14 games on the bounce, scored 16, 17 goals in total, was red hot, on form, he'd be the best striker around. Potentially, unless someone's outdoing him. That's a fact. I don't understand why you're challenging that logic. It's the truth. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That means that Rashford and Antony are the best wingers in the world. I mean, potentially. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand how other players missing chances means Rashford's goals aren't worth what they're worth. It don't make sense to me. Casemiro and De Jong would make United unstoppable. Listen, you put Casemiro and Frankie De Jong in that midfield together. Oh my days. The levels would just be different. They'd just be different. So different. So different. Almiron is a forward, as is Rashford and Mbappe. Thierry, you're going against your position and role logic you usually use. I'm not. Rashford is classified and registered as a left winger, and according to the stats matrix and the official stats companies, they have Mbappe registered a centre forward. So when I compile stats, and that's what I'm talking stats here, Mbappe goes into the centre forward category, whereas the other two go into winging positions. Now, the positions you take up are the positions you take up, but that is your starting position. So yeah, I mean, it literally doesn't go against my logic at all. It's just the facts. Just the facts. Just the facts. Why are they so pressed, Terry? Why do they care so much? They should be happy for Rashford. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the frustration towards Rashford being on form. I don't. Yeah, I just don't get it. I never really have, but maybe that's just me, innit? Like, maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm different to other people. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't get it. So I'd read and saying at the same time. Um, I love Dembele, but that people saying that he's on form shows that you haven't watched La Liga this season, is what Macavilla says here. Rashford and Antony are getting equal amounts of chances. Rashford simply is more clinical. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he just absolutely is. He absolutely is right now. But Antony, I'm confident Antony's going to add it. Like I'm somebody telling me that Mbappe doesn't play as a striker. I'm going to go and look at this now. Does he not play as a centre forward, or am I tripping here? I would. I mean, I'm just gonna. I didn't realize the other day Rennes beat PSG. Geez, 'cause again, I don't watch the league. I'm just gonna click on their last couple of games. Where does he line up? He didn't start that game. Didn't start that one either. Is he out injured at the minute or something? I don't know. I don't know the rules. Got 13 goals this year. When is the last few games that he played? Let me have a look. Jesus Christ. Was that a friendly? He scored 5 goals in a game. Jesus Christ. I swear he plays though as a centre forward. I could be wrong. I don't know. That must have been a friendly or something. I don't know what that game was. Oh, is he out injured right now? Is he injured? Someone tell me in the comments. See, look, left wing forward plays a striker. I swear Neymar's on the left. Someone help me here. Let's have a little look here. Let's have a little looky. I know he played in these games because he scored goals. Plays as a striker, according to the position. I mean, yeah, I mean, most of the when they play 4-3-3, he plays central with Neymar left, Messi right. And then they sometimes play. They've done a formation a few times where it's 4-3-1-2, where him and but he's central. But look, I mean, some people think I hate on the guy. I don't. I think Mbappe is great. I actually find that I'm probably nicer to Mbappe than a lot of people are. But yeah, I think he's a centre forward. Neymar plays 10 sometimes. Yeah. Neymar Neymar plays left wing. How do you guys are all saying different things? Do you actually watch it? I don't profess to. Do you guys actually watch it? Surely you'll know. I get heat maps change things to where people drift and where they move into. But what I mean is when I create a stat chart, I'm not gonna put Trent with wingers just because his heat map shows the positions that he's in. The only time I do that is when we're comparing positions through eras because positions in eras were different. Wingers now play 20 yards further forward than wingers of 20 years ago. So I don't compare them against each other statistically. Yeah, you can see here on heat maps for Mbappe, it's central to left is where he kind of drifts into as an example. So I do hear what people are saying there, but it does state that his start position is central forward. Is what that says. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going by what the stats say. I'll tell you what's really good for that is transfermarket.co.uk. And the reason I say transfer market are good for that is because obviously they watch the games and they list where a player starts and everything else. So that says his main position is centre forward. But again, you drift as a centre forward. He isn't a classic number 9. I totally understand and get that. I want to look at his current season though. I want to check one little thing. So yeah, this season, Mbappe has started 23 games as a striker and 1 game as a left winger. So yeah, I'm going with centre forward. That's what I'm going to go with. Hard to classify. They move around a lot. Yeah, it's just fluid. It's fluid. I totally get that. But I was purely talking about. I just don't consider Mbappe like a winger. I just don't see him as a winger. I see him as someone who's central and drifts. I don't see him as he doesn't start. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, France though. I see him run down that wing for France a few times. So maybe it's a little different for France, but that's just my take. Anyway, you guys are all entitled to your own. But there we go. And I know you watch, by the way, man like Cameron. I know you watch, bro. I know you do. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that tuned into the show today. Really do appreciate it a lot. Please make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Congratulations to Man United. Another victory for the boys. Very happy indeed. Well done, Casemiro. Brilliant performance from Antony. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you all again.